All right. It looks like we've got everyone, I think, that we had kind of scheduled to speak today. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Outstanding. Well, guys, my idea on this was to have more of a kind of a group discussion, kind of maybe going over some of the questions I'd sent out to all of you, and just really have a chance to highlight all of the wonderful work that you guys have been doing, and so everybody can kind of hear how it came about, how you met, kind of maybe what you want to share about yourselves, personally. Those are the types of things that really interested me. I know when I found out about all the stuff that you were doing, so I wanted to put this space together. I'm so thankful that you're here. Hopefully, we might have a couple surprise visits. I know that David Hayter was going to try to be here today, but he could not. But he wants to do a space later this week. Hopefully, we'll be able to get that done because he wants to say thanks to all of you as well. So, anyway, if everybody's ready, we'll get this ball rolling. What do you guys say?
Sounds good.
Yep. Right. See a lot of thumbs up and everything there. Since I know Ashley and Kate probably the best out of everybody, just because I've dealt with them with the postcards, probably go ahead and start with them. And Ashley, I'm going to pick on you and ask you to kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, my name is Ashley. I joined the order pretty early on when it started to kind of like come together to work with outreach. So I help Kate, like we both send out like a lot of emails essentially to different people, journalists, celebrities, network executives, essentially just giving them information about the show. We also have worked with James, as you said, for the postcard campaign, which you've probably seen if you're here, which has been really cool too. It's been exciting seeing people actually using them and seeing them posted like all over Twitter. As for me though, I did work in like a big medical group business for a while, but I hated it, so I quit and went back to school, and I'm going to school for social work with an emphasis in LGBT religious trauma and representation. So this is kind of in my wheelhouse of what I really enjoy doing. Yeah, that's probably about it for me.
That's amazing. Actually, it's interesting the schoolwork that you're wanting to go into, and the way it aligns with, I think, several of the people who follow this show. I know that I've seen quite a few discussions on here about people and their connection to the show because of religion, because of trauma, etc. So I find that interesting that that's your background and you're wanting to, and then you're getting involved in this. But you've been doing a phenomenal job. Huge fan of yours. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kate, how about you next? You're down you're in New Zealand, right?
Yes.
What time is it there?
It's 5 a.m.
Oh my God, Kate, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, like Ashley said, I do outreach stuff for the order, and I got started not as early on as Ashley, but probably a couple weeks in. I honestly wasn't that active on Twitter or anything before, which I feel like a lot of us probably also were in that situation. But yeah, so I decided to make a second Twitter account like after the cancellation, just for Warrior Nun, and just started tweeting and stuff, and then was following along with spaces, and then reached out to Kay and Ari after one and was just like, hey, I can help with I'm keen to help with some outreach stuff, and then just sort of jumped into it with Ashley. And like Ashley said, we send a ton of emails out. We also do the postcards with you, and I'm trying to think of other stuff. But yeah, I guess what I do outside of this is I'm finishing up my PhD in neuroscience, so a little bit different than all of this. But yeah, that's me, I guess.
I did not know. I had a big old speech there that I just gave, and then realized. Thank you for letting me know that. Well, Kate, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You have been phenomenal, and looking forward to working with you guys a whole lot more. Chris, you're next in line on my page, so I'd love to hear from you about your background and all the wonderful work you've been doing for us as far as analytics.
Sure. So I'm Chris. I am the co-founder and chief data scientist at TrustInsights.ai. We are a management and marketing consulting firm. I got roped into this by a mutual friend, Siwa, who is in the whole Twitch side of things. And it started with a conversation on a Saturday morning, someone asking, hey, do you know anything about Twitter data and how to process it? And one thing led to another, and now apparently I am running part of the website. I am running the daily email newsletter, doing all the data processing, machine learning, etc., behind the movement as a whole. Very different background than I think some of the other folks here.
And your work has been incredibly important to us, Chris. You have given us insight into why this fandom is such a phenomenon, as far as using actual data and science to back up those claims. I mean, we all understand that the fandom is wonderful, but you've been actually able to go, no, look, you guys are wonderful, and this is why. And that's been an amazing thing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
In terms of the data insights themselves, well, first, we have a really good team. No one person is doing this alone. Within the order, the data team's like 6 or 7 people who have varying backgrounds. The hardest part of doing any of this work for any kind of movement is understanding what data you have, what you have access to. And we have some phenomenal sleuths on team, Robin and Laura and many others who are able to ferret out information, Coco and the hamster squad, ferreting out information about where different bits of data live, and then assembling them into a model. So the idea behind all this stuff is to look at what data do you have, what is the outcome that you are trying to prove or disprove, and then putting all the pieces together. We obviously have social media data, but then as time went on, we started asking ourselves questions like, well, what information does Netflix see? What information is out there like IMDb that is impartial, third party, that can be quantitatively linked to an outcome of some kind? And then just starting to assemble all the different pieces: press coverage, podcasts, interviews, YouTube data. All that's out there. All that exists. It's a question of, can you assemble into a coherent story? And that's what the team does as a whole, is puts together coherent stories about not just the movement, but also raising valid questions about what is the decision-making process. For example, at Netflix, there's a great article from I think 2018 to 2019 from then Chief Content Officer and now co-CEO Ted Sarandos, who's outright admitted, we guess 70% of the time. We just go with gut instinct, and 30% of the time we use data to back up the opinions we already have. Which, for folks who understand data and analytics, that's not how that works. That's actually the opposite of what you should be doing. And so it's things like that which tell us, okay, clearly the folks who are steering the ship there at the good ship Netflix perhaps don't use data in the way that they could be using it to benefit themselves. And so part of our remit is to educate everyone that the data is contrary to the narrative, the "we never cancel successful show." Well, actually, and also to assemble in a way that demonstrates to, say, other streaming companies or other production houses that there's a there when it comes to this franchise and what you could do with it.
Well, Chris, you have been amazing. I really enjoyed your video when you explained kind of the basics of some of this, and it was very eye-opening for me as somebody that's not super familiar with analytics and data. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Kay, I think you're next in the list line here. I'd like to hear from you, kind of what you do, who you are, etc.
Hi, I'm Kay. So I think the main thing is that Ari and I kind of founded the order. So this was like one of our initial ideas when we were brainstorming things to do to save the show. And then we sent out some tweets and wanted to see if there were any people that wanted to volunteer their time. And then we created the order Discord server, and then all of these amazing talented people just came together and really created the order. So in essence, I feel like I'm more of a background character. I mean, we oversee things, we run things, and we coordinate things. But mostly it's these people like Ashley and Kay, and then Sarah and Adrian, Kelsey, Chris, that are like the minds behind everything. I also run some update spaces on Twitter and kind of handle that kind of thing, that kind of stuff. But mostly, I'd like to like extend most of my gratitude towards the people here. I have no background in most of the things occurring in the order server. I mean, I'm an astrophysics student. I'm doing my master's next year in astrophysics. I really haven't no experience in this, but I've gained. I know me and Ari have gained a lot just from working and listening and organizing these things. But yeah, that's these. Yeah.
And Kay, where are you from?
I'm from London.
Is that where you currently live?
Yeah. I've lived here for 10 years of my life, and before that I was living in Ireland.
Well, thank you so much for being here. You and Kay, you and Ari have done an amazing job of putting together one hell of a team. It just, the way this kind of organically came together, at least my understanding of it, has really been amazing. Now, and Ari, please feel free to jump into this because you and Kay both did this. How did that original concept kind of come about?
I can say it. Well, first of all, I want to apologize if I sound like I am speaking through a cardboard tube. My allergies are really acting up. Kay and I originally found each other through this watch party group chat that I started, and she was handling the kind of Britain, whatever that area is, I can't really think right now, that time zone, and I was working on the America time zone with a few others. Shout out to Kat and V, who I'm not sure are here right now. Oh yeah, V's here, hi. But we met there, and when the show was canceled, my first instinct was, because I've seen this before, I just decided I need to make sure that the community is okay. And I need to make sure the community knows that they're not isolated. Their feelings are not individual cases. We're all feeling this. So I immediately made a space. I was getting ready for work. So I was pretty sad. And I was just trying to manage that. But it was only an hour-long space. And when I had to go in for work, Kay took over. And then that's when the whole super long but also super memorable space where KTY kind of jumped in with Cheska and I think Laura Dominic and a bunch of other people jumped in, and that space was kind of the catalyst for all of this. And then at that point, she and I realized that that kind of gave us, we weren't planning on it. Obviously, none of that was planned. But that space kind of gave us all the eyeballs. So everyone was looking at us. And so we decided together that we wanted to do something more than just provide entertainment. We wanted to provide some direction. So Kay and I
started brainstorming ideas, and then eventually we decided to call on several professionals who like float around in the fandom, are just fans who are willing to help us out. And eventually, through me and Kay, mostly Kay because Kay has a broader reach than me, we put together the order server. I made it. It's all constructed by me. But we basically, that's basically where it started. And we just felt we basically, the responsibility of basic kind of looking after the fandom fell on us, but instead of shoving that away, we kind of just accepted that and decided that this is something that we wanted to do together. And so we did. And now, over a month later, almost closing in on 2 months later, if not that, since the cancellation, we've made so much progress. And I can only imagine that we have a lot more to achieve.
You guys have done phenomenal work. I think it was Ashley and Kate that kind of told me a little bit about the beginnings of how this started, and that there was this space, which is what I think you were just talking about, where literally thousands and thousands of people kind of came together after the cancellation. Is that the same space that you were just talking about?
Yeah, the one that peaked at like 6,000 people and then my phone shut off. Yeah, that one.
The one of the interesting things I kind of heard in discussing, today and then with other discussions, is the way people kind of have fallen into doing this. I mean, from my own experience, I'd made a post and then got thousands of likes on it, and I'm like, okay, and then I made another post, and then it just kind of kept rolling and kind of kept following along into it, and it getting more and more involved to where I look around, I'm like, wait a minute, all I'm doing is Warrior Nun. And so it sounds to me like that's kind of what's happened to most of us that are speaking today, that we kind of
Yeah, kind of. I know all of us are fans, still are, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't be doing this, but yeah, it was something we kind of fell into and just kind of took the reins on, I guess you could say. It wasn't planned, but I'm kind of glad the cards fell the way that they did, because I wouldn't trade any of this for any other scenario, honestly.
Well, and I think that what you guys have done is incredible. For this kind of an organizational structure to organically combine and be created has just been an amazing thing to watch, and particularly with the accomplishments. And speaking of the accomplishments, that's the billboards, and I think, Sarah, you're up next. I'd really like to hear from you and kind of where you're at, where you're from, and kind of how you got involved and what you've been doing with the fandom.
Okay, yeah. So my name's Sarah. Previously, I actually don't have any experiences as far as being in any kind of fandom. This is all new and a first for me. Just like Kate, I also just made this profile for Warrior Nun. Like my real one has like 4 followers. I mostly just used Twitter for lurking until I saw that the show was canceled. But previously, I worked in healthcare for, in trauma and labor and delivery, doing surgeries and stuff, and now I'm in insurance. So this is all very new. But I created this account when I saw that people, had a lot of ideas, and I was just like, everybody's talking about it. Let's actually do it, because I had some time. And so I created the GoFundMe, and, I'm sure Kelsey can speak to her bit for a little bit, but her and I have been speaking to, agencies, media managers, all sorts of people to get information and make sure that we are making the correct decisions and investments. And so nothing that we do is being done blindly. And, eventually we got enough funds to get that billboard outside of Netflix, and that was awesome. And then we just got the one in New York. And then there's lots of other plans still on the works, but if you had any specific questions.
Well, I think that's, I mean, the big highlights that, I wanted to start off with. I mean, the billboard, particularly outside of Netflix headquarters, is the ultimate trolling situation. It was just such an amazing thing. And the fact now, as we saw yesterday, that Christina and Simon both have been there. David Hayter's been there. Lots of the cast and crew were making that same pilgrimage as well. And of course, there was the large pilgrimage last weekend. So the work that you guys did and to be able to see that results, that's got to be really satisfying for you, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's been very cool to see the reactions and everything. And I've had like David and a few cast members reach out to me just to say thank you, and it's been great because it's great to see how much the cast is still involved and how much they actually love everybody in their show. The reactions are just so fulfilling, and I love that.
Well, it looks like next up we have Pietra. And
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
How are you, sir?
I am wonderful. It's good to hear your voice. I enjoy your newsletter. You keep us all on our toes with all of the information. I'd love to hear how you got involved, where you're from. We know that you're a Toronto Raptors fan.
Yes, I'm sorry for the freak out this week.
That's fine. We loved it.
So what happens? I was on Twitter. I think like some people here have two accounts. So this account was used mostly for Raptors content. And out of nowhere, I started commenting on watched hours for the second and third week. And then when the cancellation hit, I just went on chaos control, I think. And the newsletter came as my way of putting the information together, because I, for one, am a very disorganized person. So if I don't have the information together, I'm going to lose everything. I don't know where to start looking. So this idea came to me, and Adrienne was so nice and came to help. She's the reason why we get anything done, particularly the interviews. So I guess that this is it. I am not from Canada, which is a misconception. So, but let's just leave it at that.
Okay. and everybody that's, speaking today, hopefully you'll have an opportunity to, let us know where you live if you want to. I do see that we have William Miller has joined us, and I'm inviting William to speak. I know that William would probably like a chance to say thank you to everybody. And so hopefully I did that right. And
We shall see if it works. Unless it stays silence.
if we can get him, there he goes. All right, William, how are you today?
If you're speaking, you are on mute.
William, you're muted.
Okay. Sorry. You hear me now?
We can.
Okay. Sorry. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it today because I'm at my nephew's baptism. So it's been a bit of a busy day. Being recognized by the priests and all. It wasn't a plus for my nephew.
Well, I had extended invitations to a bunch of you, and I was hoping some of you would have a chance to come in here so you could give your own personal thanks. You've already done that numerous times on your pages, but if you wanted to take the floor and talk to them or anything, William, please do. And thank you so much for showing up. We really appreciate this.
No, thanks for the invitation. Yeah, James told me about it several days ago, and even though I knew I was going to be busy today, I was hoping I could find at least a few minutes to join in and show the appreciation. I know that Simon made the pilgrimage to the billboard in LA, and Christina and Dave. Unfortunately, I'm in Spain. I'm on the island of Mallorca right now. So for me, it's
is kind of impossible to get out there right now. But you know, I obviously we're super grateful. I'm super. It's beyond words what the fandom is doing, and as I've said many times, the fact on whether or not things advance, get picked up, get saved by another network or not, it's out of anybody's hands. But what is true is that if you don't do anything and you don't acknowledge the unfairness of something that you find unfair, or you don't fight for something that you believe in, nothing will happen. So
Exactly.
you can only do what you can do, and up to today, what has been done has been far more, like, far bigger than anybody else has, in my recollection, has ever done. And you know, it's humbling as somebody who spends 4 years of their life invested in a show, which is everybody who's been involved in this show. It is sad when something just gets cast aside like this. With, you know, no one ever points any fingers. We're all very, very much aware that this is business, and the numbers have to add up, and you know, you want this to be successful for all the right reasons. But when sometimes you think, well, what has been the problem? How has it gone wrong? And especially you see so many people for whom this feels so important and has touched so many people in so many ways. You do kind of question yourself, and you do kind of ask yourself, well, listen, if it's not going to go forward for whatever reasons, anybody has 100% the 100% right to cancel anything or whatever. But you know, if it can continue, by all means, may it do so. And you guys are proving that it's worth it to so many people out there. But as I've also said before, always keep with the positive. What this has done up until now for so many people out there has it's given you a space for common thought, and a space where people with many likewise interests, or many likewise feelings, or many likewise sense or love have gotten together in a safe space, and you've spoken to each other, you've made acquaintances, you've made friends, and that to me is already a win-win. You know, no matter what happens to the show, that is a win-win always, because you leave something like this. Even if you meet somebody you're going to speak to for the rest of your life, that is way more than you'd ever get for just watching a show without talking to anybody about it. So that is a win-win already. Not
Such a great point.
Yeah, not to say that this isn't going to move ahead. I think that anybody would be crazy not to listen to what's happening. As I said, I wake up every morning, and the first thing I do is look for something inspiring to write to all of you guys, because not only as a fan of the show, but I think there's so many people investing so much time, and so many people for whom this means so much, that it doesn't take much for me to be part of that, to acknowledge it. And I know that it's important for a lot of people, that those of us that are involved in the show, for us to acknowledge it in the same way gives you a bit of strength and a bit of, you know, a bit of hopefulness, and you know, I love being part of something like this, the fight. So that's all I wanted to say. I digress. Sorry, I'm speaking too much.
No, not at all, William. I know all of us are encouraged when we get to see tweets from you, from Simon, from Christina, from Alba. We appreciate those, because it does encourage all of us. I would think also from the other side, that for you as artists, seeing this kind of love from a fandom, and seeing that you've had this kind of an effect on so many people, it's got to be really a great affirmation for you as an artist and for your art.
Well, not so much, because I just think I'm just another cog in the machine that somebody has put into motion. I help tell a story. Whether I do it properly or not is beyond the fact that that story touches people in the way it has or not. You know, I can only hope that I did my job properly. I don't know, because when something like this becomes as big as it has with the fandom, it takes on its own legs. So, you know, I hope I did a good job, but a story isn't told properly unless everybody involved did. And I think Simon was clever enough. Simon's one of the best showrunners I've worked with, and one of the good things he does, he knows how to delegate, which is what a good showrunner has to do. And he chose the right people for everything in this show. And when you choose the right people for everything, I mean, both in front and behind the camera, like costume designers, set designers, production designers, just the catering, extras, specialists, and then obviously DPs, actors, cameramen. That's when a show actually works, and when it clogs together perfectly. It's very moving to see that something actually works in this way, that it touches people in the way that, right, the story we were helping tell actually got through to people the right way. Because it isn't very often that it happens that you get a fandom as strong as this. It's happened to me. I only joined the 100 on its 5th season, but when I did join the 100, I wasn't aware of what I was getting into when it came to the fandom. There were people that show touched in so many different ways, and it was a fandom that was nothing that I'd ever come in touch with before, but I'd never been part of something that would create something like that from moment zero. You know, I was in Warrior Nun on the 1st season, and I came into the 2nd season, so to be part of something like that from the beginning is completely different to joining in on season 5. So it's been magic. You know, it's a trip, and
Well,
and it's humbling.
I can definitely tell you that we all love your character. I mean, praise Adriel. It's been trending, and we are looking forward to seeing a season 3 and seeing them bring you back in some way.
Because there's a couple of wacky theories, but I'm not going to be the one to speak. That has to be the Simon or David Hayter. But we did speak about some crazy options, whether or not those go through. But one of them is seriously hilarious and I think great, and the other one's pretty cool too. But these are all theories for when season 3 does happen, because I'm committed to say that it will.
Awesome. We'd love to hear that, William. Thank you so much. And it's such a huge thing for us to hear that kind of positivity. So thank you for coming in today. I know that you're busy, and please feel free to stay, but I also don't want to take up your time.
I'm going to get back to my newborn nephew who just became part of the religion that I've been slagging off for the last 2 years. It is what it is. But he's a beautiful baby boy. His name is Tristan, and I'm over the moon because he's the first kid in our family. He's the first baby. So
congratulations to Tristan and to you, William. Thank you so much for stopping in, and please enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, James, for organizing this, and to all of you who are here listening, and to all of you who have been working on this for so long and so hard. I love you all. I think you're all amazing. I think you're all awesome. I have no words. I'm just an actor, but you've made me part of something so much bigger, and I'm just another fan when I come on here, and I am a fan of you guys, seriously. It's humbling. I always say it, but it's the truth. So much love to all of you, and James, thank you so much. I realize what kind of an extremely busy man you must be, and for you to do something like this and to host this and entertain us in the way you're doing is is incredible. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, William, very much. I appreciate it. You have a great day.
You too. Take care. Love you all.
Bye, William. All right, so now I'm a little freaked out. That was awesome. I've got to get myself back on track here. And now, let's see. We were talking to Pietra. So, Adrian, you're next up on my list. Please join into the conversation.
I can't compete with William Miller, just to let you know.
Congrats.
But he did give me the courage that I could actually start getting cast interviews, because Dean was the first, but he was totally open to do.
You've done such a phenomenal job on that too, Adrian. I mean, you have gotten just some really phenomenal interviews. The one with Tristan was just incredible. William is fantastic. I mean, how are you getting those and convincing them to not just give you an interview, but to open up so much?
Dumb luck. It's really this cast. They are taking the time. I just have reached out. Seriously, it's the cast and crew.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, Adrian, and how you got involved in all of this.
So I did not create a fake Twitter account. I didn't know that I'd get involved with this, but then when there was no promotion on Warrior Nun, I just was like, okay, I've got to help. And then I just evolved. I started doing like these generic, like fake, or not fake, but like as a news reporter type thing, reporting like from KTY, she's having issues with technology, just funny things to keep the spirits up. But my real love was behind the scenes, and I'd been collecting behind the scenes information. And so when the newsletter idea was thrown out, I immediately jumped on board. And it was the 26th that she threw out the idea. The 27th, the first one was published. That's how it evolved.
And that you guys are consistently putting out this information in a organized and such a good manner.
That's not
really impressive. Well, I did find it interesting when Petra said that she's not organized, and I personally find that hard to believe, considering the organization that must go into putting this out, that you guys have to, somebody between the two of you has to be organized.
She's organized with putting the whole newsletter together. I organize all of the randomness involved with it.
You organize the chaos?
Yes.
Where do you guys see the newsletter going from here?
Bigger.
Weird question. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm not going to make the announcement. You do it.
Actually, if I might, actually the newsletter, the goal is continue to present the information to the fandom. Now we have two different, I think, sections. The first one is putting the fans front and center. So we are doing interviews with a couple of people, and usually just 3 questions, but we're doing these interviews, and very soon we're going to have one very, very special interview that kind of made me freak out a little last week. Thought I wouldn't make it. But we are putting together an edition with Sylvia.
Awesome.
Yeah, we just... yeah, it's wild. I don't even know how I survived. For those of you that know me, I am obsessed with Mother Spirian and Camilla. So I always joked with Adrian that if she got an interview with either one of them, Sylvia or Olivia, she should ease me to this. And it wasn't enough. She eased me for a day and I almost died.
Oh my goodness. Mother Superior's why I got involved in the fandom, as far as that's who I initially started tweeting about, because I just love her character. That is great. I can't wait to read that. And you think that will come out next week?
Maybe not, because
2 weeks.
like I said, I was freaking out and couldn't work the questions. But it should be out on the 20th, on the week of the 20th.
Outstanding. Wow. That is incredible.
So normally I'm the one that does the questions, and I get in trouble because I always submit too many questions. And now the role has changed.
Now they're wanting more questions, or do they
No,
want?
no, she, if I got Olivia or Sylvia, it was all her.
Mm.
And so now she's had the trouble of coming up with just, because we have a 12 question limit with Sylvia because she's busy.
She is. That'll be really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing that. So thank you guys for letting us know that. A little tea here today.
Well,
in the space.
And here's a little bit more. We actually did. Since I asked so many questions, we kind of had to go to do video interviews, and the stunt crew joined us last week. With a couple of fans, and so in the next couple of days, part 1 will be coming out, and it was absolute phenomenal to talk to them. They are amazing.
I've seen some of the videos with some of the stunt crew, and I would love to. I mean, just have a whole hour-long special on the way they put these things together. With they've got the room with the boxes and doing everything that they're doing. To me, that would be an incredibly interesting behind-the-scenes thing to get a look at. So you guys are extremely lucky that you're getting to do that. I'm pretty jealous. So.
No, me too. I only am doing the video because I want to know. I'm the behind the scenes person. I don't want to be out there. But
well, that is great. That is wonderful. I think what I'm going to do now is move on to Kelsey, because I want to make sure we get her introduced, because I know Kelsey has had a big role in all of this. Kelsey, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. Doing good. Trying to make it through this and make sure we get to everybody. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role and how you got involved.
Sure. So exactly like Adrian, I did not make a side Twitter or fake Twitter or anything. This has been my account since I think 2009. I was on Twitter earlier this year because of another show that got canceled, and I was kind of part of that campaign to try to fight for it. Much smaller audience. But so then, when I found out about Warrior Nun, I messaged Kay because I'd been joining the spaces, and I saw the fandom kind of grow monumentally really fast. I'd never seen that kind of interaction before. So I reached out to Kay because I noticed that a lot of people were kind of flocking to her. And I basically said, hey, you're kind of it looks like you're going to be the parent of the fandom, or not the parent, I'm sorry, like the voice of the fandom. And it just kind of grew from there. And I think maybe a week or two later, she messaged me and basically said, we have this server, and you have some experience with this. Would you like to hop on? I was like, yeah, of course. And honestly, my initial goal was like, I'll just kind of help. I'll be in the background. I won't be this. I'm not going to get super involved because, and then all of a sudden it's like around Christmas time, I'm talking to Sarah. We start working together. I had prior contacts I had worked with before. Outfront Media, Clear Channel, etc., different billboard companies. And I've done marketing before in the past. Now, my most recent experience is actually primarily healthcare related. I was a CNA for a little while. Then I did patient advocacy with their medical billing to try. I'm the person who fought the insurance companies. Yep. And now I am actually working in finance outside of the healthcare field. So it's a little different. But I mean, we have an incredible team. I mean, I really got a shout out to Lucy, who is our graphic designer, and she does, she did the designs with the artists for like the billboards. She does all the designs for our graphs. Basically anything you need. Lucy is just this gem of artistic ability. Lucy is this gem of artistic ability. But I mean, everybody else. Oh my, yeah.
It's just incredible. And I still have her, one of her original mock-ups for the postcards on my computer as my background. The stuff she does is so phenomenal.
I know. And I mean, and everybody else in the order is just incredible people. I don't think I've ever been part of a space where there was so much talent and so much passion, but also so much humor and personality, and like we all kind of ground each other when necessary. So when we continuously build everything up and, we're pushing for more, I know people start to feel burnt out, totally get it. And, people have questions. So we're trying to be very transparent as much as we can. Transparency is key. So we actually have an update space at 3:00 EST this afternoon. So everyone definitely check that out as well. And for you, James, I actually, we have a bit of a surprise for you. So we kind of asked around and we put something together, and we actually were able to raise $600 to donate to a cancer organization. But we want it to be your choice of whatever organization you want. We will donate the $600 to it.
Oh, wow. Caught me off guard there. Oh, excuse me, guys. Sorry, that kind of got to me a little bit. Yeah, what I'd like you to donate it to, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, is the Rocky Mountain Cancer Center specializes in neuroendocrine tumors, which is what I have, and they do a lot of work. Dr. Eric Liu is there and does some amazing work, and I'll have to get the information for you. I don't have it off the top of my head, obviously, but oh my God, you guys, thank you so much. That is, oh, you guys got me on that.
No, I mean, everyone pitched in. Again, I'm telling you, it's just people, at the end of the day, I feel like this fandom is very much like, let's take care of each other. And that's our end goal anyway, to take care of each other and to get this show back because we all deserve it. But real life problems exist and we want to help those too. So that's our goal. So yeah, I wanted to let you know about that.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I don't even know what to say. And that is above and beyond, guys. Thank you so much. And talking about the transparency, that was when there was a space, I don't know, a month ago, I think, when there were, people were raising questions about the billboards, et cetera. And I got on and I'd asked questions because as an attorney, that was some of the things I got concerned about. I was like, oh God, okay, we've got a lot of people online. We're doing fundraising. People don't really know things. And I think it was you that really had just, look, this is what we're doing. And you were able to lay it out. And it really set my mind at ease. And that's when I got involved in helping with the fundraising because I felt safe to do so. So you guys, the work that you're doing is so incredible. Do you, either Kelsey or anybody else that wants to jump in on this, when did you guys realize that, okay, this organization of, the order had occurred, and that, oh my God, we have something so special here. When do you guys think that really kind of started to sink in with you guys?
I mean, I know personally for me, it was, again, when I joined Kay's space, and all of a sudden, like, KTY jumped in, and there was like 6,000 people in there. Twitter was starting to break. There was chaos and anarchy. Like, it was just this giant thing. And I was like, oh, this is big. And also just to say, like, when it comes to kind of laying things down, I also really, really need to credit Sarah, because sometimes my brain is like this jumbled mess, or I'll get really worked up about something, and she will ground me and be like, okay, like, let's talk about this. So she's the more of like the sensical one. I am more of the, we're getting things done right now, and here's what it is. And she is more of like, and let's take it down a notch and explain it a little bit clearer. So
it's always good to have those. I know that, when I would do political campaigns, I had, some people like that were very much, okay, well, that's a great idea, Jim. All right, now let's talk about how we get to that idea.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I'd sent out some questions to all of you, just kind of to go over maybe some things that we could talk about. I mean, I think we've kind of gone over a lot of, how the order came about, how it was organized. Did any of you know each other before any of this?
I personally did not know anyone at all. I've met all these people on Twitter, and a few of them I actually met in California last weekend.
Which I was so jealous of, by the way. I mean, there, and I'm like, on the one hand, I'm very happy that there's this great, gathering, pilgrimage, and people there, and on the other hand, I'm like going, I wish I could be there. I really wanted I really want to see that sign. I was really jealous of you guys. But did anybody else know anyone? Chris, you had said that you had that you kind of got drug into it. Is there anybody else?
No, I mean, this is all a group of total strangers to me. This is a very different audience of people. That's kind of what makes it interesting, because you get a chance to see, I come into it as a very much an outsider from almost every aspect, background, etc. And when you first step into, for example, one of the Discord servers, you realize just how organized and self-organized the group is. There's different channels for legal, finance, data analytics, art and design, the media pitching thing, and you go, most companies would be lucky to function like this at all. There's organizational silos within every company that are problematic at best, and so seeing that, and then the thing that I find very interesting about the Order as a whole, and the fandom, but especially the group in the Order, is it's a totally different system of governance that is wildly at odds with things I grew up with and the things I see in regular business. And we all know regular business does not tend to function particularly well. The system of governance is one that is... It is by committee in the best possible way, a sort of a consensus-based group. And that's highly unusual, particularly with a group of people, like 50 some odd people. Having consensus-based organization should not function. Like the world, this group should not function. And yet it does, mostly because the team as a whole has, Ari and Kay and Sarah and Kelsey have chosen very carefully and very well about the people that are involved in this smaller group as part of the larger fandom. There's almost no egos. No one is in it for themselves first, and that's the key to the group as a whole functioning well, is that people are putting the sort of the communal aspect above the individual aspect, which is highly unusual. And we know this from just looking at the headlines in the news, and I think that's just so remarkable.
I can't agree more, Chris. I mean, I know that in having conversations with Ashley and Kate, to me, that was such a huge story and part of this that what you have all accomplished and the way you have come together so organically to function. And like you said, to have marketing department, legal department, and have this spontaneous organization that is far better than, as you said, most companies. I've helped set up, some small businesses and things like that. And what has happened within this, to me, seems like a case study in organization. It just really has been that phenomenal. Has anybody else looked at this and stepped back and went, whoa, I can't believe what we're doing and how special this is? I'd love to hear some more thoughts from some of you.
I can go. I definitely, I feel like, wake up and think that on a daily basis. That's one of the reasons that I'm going to school for what I'm going to school for. I think a lot of people, it's funny because William was in the space, but like, I got really into the 100 and the Clexa storyline. And that's when Bury Your Gaze essentially started, when they killed one of the characters in that show. And I remember, like, social media was like popular then. It's obviously getting more and more popular. But I remember the like uptick in just kind of outcry for our community over that show. And then, like, especially because it had been kind of consistent. And I think just representation as a whole and wanting to have like the equality shown on screen through all of it is just something that we are essentially begging for, and we finally found it in this show. And so when I see like a group of people finally like coming together to really fight for it, I've seen a lot of campaigns, I've seen a lot of billboards over different shows and stuff like that, but like this is definitely different. I'm really proud to be a part of it. Like, just the people that we work with on a day-to-day basis, like seeing their talent, seeing everything they put into it, like, it gives me a lot of hope. Like, I know that we all struggle with like mental health at different points, and I feel like this saved me in a lot of ways from where I was at. So I think just the fact that everybody came together and is like doing this, it's a literal, like, I wake up every day just feeling like really blessed to have these people as my friends and like co-workers in a weird way, because it kind of is. Like I said, I've worked in a lot of big businesses and companies as managers and director, and like, this is the most organized, like, it's way more organized than any business I've worked for, which is a little bit depressing but also pretty amazing, because people are passionate about it, and you have a lot of people who like really love and care not just about the show, but about this fandom. Like Ari was saying, this started because they wanted to make sure that the fandom was okay. It wasn't initially like, okay, we're going to save the show. Like, that came later. And so I think just like protecting the fandom, giving people like a space to be themselves. A lot of people have never had that. So yeah, I'm just really lucky, and I love you guys.
Also, to follow up, because I was yelled at. So when you asked if I knew anybody, I didn't want to dox us, but Ashley and I are actually cousins. So I did know Ashley.
Okay. That's interesting. All right. Well, I'm really glad that you guys are cousins and you guys came together. I mean, it sounds to me, and if I'm misunderstanding this, it sounds like Kay, Ari, Sarah, and Kelsey kind of were the original organizers. Is that right? Or is it more Kay and Ari, and then they brought on people?
I think for the order, Kay and Ari were kind of like the first two, and then everybody else came together. There are other Discord servers, and there are other people, doing their own. Sorry, I'm fixing my hair if I sound like I'm, weird. But there are other Discord servers that they're doing their own groundwork, their own outreach. I mean, they have watch parties. The fan base as well. I mean, and I don't know if she's in here right now, but Boop, tends to come up with the break day phrases of like, let us save Warrior Nun, and like all those wonderfully ridiculous things. So definitely want to shout out to her. I met her in California. She is just, I mean, she radiates fun and happy, and also like, just live your life, but also have a good time doing it. So I want to shout out to her. But I think, at the end of the day, we're more of like, we have the order, and then other people have their servers, and it's just everyone coming together and freaking out and branching out and bringing in this organic audience and spreading the word. I mean, we're still finding the people that didn't know it was canceled. Like literally, they're like, oh, I didn't even know it was canceled, or I didn't even know season 2 came out, So everybody is just incredible in this.
I've seen quite a few of those posts. I keep seeing, hey, I'm a new fan, and I love the fact that the fandom is welcoming to all of the new fans and just kind of envelops them into the fold. Where do all of you see this going? Setting, I mean, obviously we want to get Warrior Nun renewed, but even if Warrior Nun is not renewed, where do you guys see this organization that's been created, this fandom that's been created? Where do you see this moving, and what do you think the next level or next step is? And anybody, please feel free to jump in.
I'm gonna just jump in real quick. Well, obviously the ultimate goal is to save our show, and get as many seasons of Warrior Nun as we possibly can. But I think beyond just that, we've kind of created this amazing drive and this campaign with people that are working so hard. And even if we don't get that renewal, I think we've created a community, and that's something that we can always celebrate. And I think we've created even like a frame for future shows, if anything happens, for them to kind of follow and acknowledge, especially like sapphic shows. I think this isn't to big ourselves up or anything, but when people are like, this is one of the most organized campaigns we've ever seen, I truly do believe that. And it's, like I said, it's all because of the people that are in it and involved. And I don't want to take any credit for that, because, at the end of the day, it's always the people that make up anything. And I'd love to have like 50 seasons of Warrior Nun if possible, but I do think a huge thing is that we've created like a drive and a framework for the future, and that matters a lot. And like, we've created a community, and its impact is immeasurable, as you can see from Twitter. But yeah.
Kay, I think that brings up a really great point, that the impact has been greater than the show. It has brought a lot of awareness to the lack of sapphic representation in television shows, and the fact that these shows don't tend to last long. And I think if nothing else, it is a great moment in trying to reach towards that equality. And this is from, the middle-aged white guy that's, kind of on the outside looking in at that. To me, what you guys are doing is definitely bringing awareness to a very important issue.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, when is the last time you've seen a show cancellation get the amount of articles that we've gotten, especially from like Forbes and Time, New York Times? Like, it's insane. Like, it's working, and it's bringing publicity, just not to Warrior Nun as a whole, but to sapphic shows being cancelled in general. Like, it's creating that industry pressure that we've always wanted. So like, it's amazing. Every day we see tens and tens of articles coming out, and it's this huge pressure on Netflix, and it's insane that they're ignoring it, actually. But then again, I don't think they are, because they were forced to make that statement, I believe. And I do think that may have been a bit of a nod at the outrage. But yeah.
Yeah, and you would think that they would run those statements by somebody, but though before they come out and make, we've never canceled a successful show.
Well,
yeah, you have.
But I don't think Netflix runs their decision by anyone, because clearly they wouldn't be making half of them if they did. But that was a huge blow, like, I guess, to us, because it was so, I guess, a lot of the reasons that they were saying was their own fault. If they don't promo a show, then what are they going to expect? And they were so dismissive of, because shows are more than just numbers at the end of the day. Like shows like Warrior Nun meant more to us than just like audience views. It was representation, and beyond that, it was just a really good show, right? And it was just super dismissive that they reduced their shows down to just how well it did in terms of numbers and profit. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that it can't be a sustainable model either. If you have people that are afraid to get invested in shows, and they're just going to stop watching your shows, because sooner or later they're going to be like, look, I don't want to have the emotional drain that's going to come with losing this show that I do care about, these characters that I care about. So I'm just not even going to get invested now, because I'm worried that you won't put the effort in to continue the show. So to me, it seems like it's just an unsustainable business model that they've got running right now, and they really need to modify it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, we're in that streaming age where you get like one season with 8 episodes, and then it's either cancelled or like that's it. And we need to bring back the days when we'd get like 20 random episodes and 10 seasons, and half of them were filler episodes, but it's still like you'd still sit down and watch it because it was good. And I don't know, I don't see Netflix lasting if they keep doing this, because people aren't going to get invested in shows if they know that it's probably going to get cancelled. Like, I saw it with Warrior Nun, people were like, I don't want to get invested in another Sapphic show, it's probably going to get cancelled. And it's just turning away viewers, if anything.
One of the interesting things from this project that I am hopeful that the entertainment industry as a whole is looking at is understanding, Netflix rolled out its ad-based tier last fall, and many other streaming platforms are also doing the same. When we ran the data about the different audience segments that tune in and whatnot, we saw that this group of people, the LGBTQ crowd in general, and sort of the Sapphic crowd in specific, have substantially higher economic value to any advertising platform compared to the general audience. It was out of all Netflix viewers, the Sapphic audience was about $2.50 CPM higher than the $40 CPM Netflix viewer. And so part of the lasting impact of the campaign as a whole, I think, is going to be helping all these organizations realize, if you want to make money on this group of people, you have to provide an equal exchange of value. And doing sort of half-assed promotion or no promotion at all of a show, and then wondering why you don't hit your 28-day numbers, is kind of counterproductive to making that long-term value exchange. So if there's nothing else that the campaign leaves behind, it is an understanding that the folks who are in charge and making economic decisions are not using the data appropriately to look at the long-term customer lifetime value of the audience segment that they're supposedly creating this content for.
Chris, can we make you in charge of the streaming services and explain this to them, please?
We're certainly happy to have those conversations with them, but it is like you said, it is business. William said it as well. It is business, but when people are making decisions inappropriately by cherry picking the data or by just flat out ignoring it, as Mr. Sarandos just said in his interview, then you are not going to maximize your long-term returns. Right? It's that simple. And so for any of these streaming companies, they need to take a good hard look at the communities they're serving and the long-term value they provide. The other thing that I think is very interesting about the future of the Order, and I know it's been discussed within the group, the infrastructure itself isn't going to go anywhere. You have this amazing team of people. You have, the anonymous fan that donated the warriornun.com website. You have a mailing list that is now well over 1,000 people, and this infrastructure, it is an entity unto itself. So what the leaders of the team choose to do with it will be very, very interesting. I could see it being helpful for supporting other campaigns, other aligned interests. Even in your neck of the woods, James, is supporting, potentially people who are advancing legislation that improves equality and reduces inequity. I think there's a lot of potential, but what the team has done is very smart. It's not just a movement; it is a system. It is an infrastructure that can be worked with in the long term.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Chris, because that is something that happens with political campaigns is that you reach out to other campaigns because information is king when you're in politics, trying to how can you identify and target areas where you have potential voters, and I think that's kind of I think that's what you're saying here. And as far as that, you have a system set up that feature campaigns that are looking to renew a show or that are looking to get involvement, particularly from the LGBTQ community and the Sapphic community, can reach out to this organization that has been formed and be able to gather input and information and maybe get targeted a little bit more. So
get targeted and have it be part of what powers a movement. One of the things that people do not realize, if you look at the most recent data from Pew Research, is that for Generation Z in particular, approximately 1 in 4 people do not identify as heterosexual. Right? They are something other than that. That's 25% of the population. Now, if you go back in time, once upon a time there were no left-handed people, and then once things got decriminalized and delegislated, you saw that was about 10-ish% of the population. What I think we're going to find is that in the next 10 or 15 years, as people become more accepting, as the tides of culture change, you will get probably 1 in 4, maybe 1 in 3 people do not see themselves as traditionally, cisgender heterosexual, which means that if you are trying to market, if you're trying to get elected, if you're trying to build a business, and you are behaving in a way that is punitive to 1/3 of your base, you're going to have a very difficult time doing business or accomplishing your goals.
That is, I can't wait for that. There needs to be more people that understand that very basic concept. But guys, we've been on here for an hour now. One thing I'd like to ask, just a quick answer from all of you, is something that seems to get asked in just about every space where there's some kind of an interview going on about Warrior Nun. But I'd like to know who each of your favorite character is and why. So Ashley, we'll start with you.
My favorite character is Beatrice. A lot to do with the religious trauma of it all. But I think that KTY did a beautiful job going through that whole process of explaining essentially why she doesn't love herself. And I don't know, it was the first time I've really ever seen that acknowledged on screen and seen myself to an extent on screen. And so that's why it's my favorite character.
Awesome. Kate, how about you?
Well, Ashley stole word for word what I was going to say, basically. I was also, we do share a brain cell, so, that's probably why. But I was also going to say B, just in that I think for me, this is the first time that I saw a character that I really felt like I just was seen. Like I just feel really seen by her character. And I think like I've only recently sort of worked through a lot of my like internalized shame and kind of like that trauma from my past. And so being able to see that on screen and then kind of realize like, oh wait, okay, I've actually healed that part of myself, has just been really cool for me. So yeah.
Awesome. Chris, how about you? Who's your favorite character?
Beatrice, only because as someone who's been practicing the martial arts for 33 years and seeing really well done, not just the execution of the skills themselves, but also sort of the perspective on them, is a lot of fun.
Great. Awesome. Kay, how about you?
I'm gonna have to say Beatrice as well. Only because the whole Asian lesbian with repression and martial arts background, but also I really do like Ava. So it's a constant battle. Sometimes I'm like I prefer Ava, but recently I've been in my Beatrice era.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ari, how about you?
This is like maybe pick. This is difficult. So I relate to Beatrice on like the repression and the religious difficulties, things like that. And I love her character and how KCY has portrayed her. I think she's done it beautifully and like super accurately. And I love Beatrice. I love Beatrice as a character, but I also do see a lot of myself in Ava, mostly in the way that she just kind of, I've been aiming to like try and live more in the moment and stop thinking about the past and the future. And Ava seems to be, because of her past and because of her story, she seems to always aim to live in the present and enjoy the moment as best as she can. And that is something I've been trying to do. And also just the way that she expresses her emotions. She's very expressive. She can be very emotional, but she can also be very impulsive. And I see that in myself, but I know that the impulsiveness and some of those other aspects are done out of love for the people around her. So I see a lot of myself in Ava, but I also see a lot of myself in Beatrice. But I guess for the sake of this, I will say I really, really love Ava.
There you go. Okay. You did a great job of splitting both of those. That was one of the best explanations of both characters. Incredible. Sarah, how about you?
Well, I mean, she's in my profile picture, but I absolutely love Mother Superior Nuns. I just think she's so cool. And I guess the way in which I relate to her is, even though she keeps her cards a bit closer to the chest, and she just loves big and will do anything and everything to help the people that she loves to the ends of the earth. And I feel that I would do the same.
Awesome. Pietra, how about you?
For me, I think it's a very close three-way tie between B, Camilla, and Mother Superior. B, for I think the reasons that most people relate to her, she has a very hard relationship with self-love and has a very hard understanding of the need to be perfect, to be valued. And this conversation she had with Ava in season 1 was very special for me in multiple reasons, not just as a lesbian, but getting the autistic diagnosis. So that scene was very important for me. So I cannot not put B there. But also Camilla's way of looking to the world, of always finding the good, is something that we all could use a little bit more of. We could all use a little bit more of loving people regardless of whatever they've done, believing in people, and believing that at the end of the day, they're good and they are aiming to do good. I think this is a message that stays with me and why I love Camilla so much. And lastly, with Mother, first of all, she's absolutely very cool. So there's
Very
that.
much so.
Yeah, very cool. But also she has a very strong relationship with wanting to protect people and wanting to do her duty. And this fear she has of eventually losing people also resonates with me a lot. It's a very thin line between protecting, being overbearing, and sending them their way and putting them in danger. And I think Sylvia portrays it so well that it's impossible not to have Mother Spearn as one of your favorite characters.
Agreed, 100%. She's my favorite, so I'm right there with you on that. Adrian, how about you?
So I'm going to say Simon because he has just the dedication that he's done to each character, no matter how big or small. And the care and handling that he took with Ava and Beatrice's character.
The manner in which he portrayed the relationship unfolding, is that what you're referring to?
Yes, but the characters in general as well.
Okay. Great answer. Great answer. And how about you, Kelsey?
For me, it's definitely a toss-up between a bit of three. So again, like everybody else, Beatrice. I grew up in a very Irish Catholic family and went to Catholic school. Came out relatively early, and there was a lot of backlash with that. Not from my family side, actually, but just from my school. So it took quite a while to fully accept myself in a way that it was love instead of kind of shame. And then the second one is actually Shotgun Mary, because, you know, she resembles me a lot in the past. In the past, I was not as open, but I was deeply caring for people. I just didn't, I wasn't the type to say like, oh, I love you to my friends. It was like, all right, bye, like go away in a joking way. But, she's super, super protective and, would put herself in the line of fire to protect the people she loves, which also leads into Mother Superior, who, like Sarah said, she does hold her cards too close to her chest, but she does kind of show that she cares deeply for them. She wants to take care of them. She wants them to be safe, and she would die for them. That's kind of where I'm at in my life now. I show my emotions much more, but there are things I do keep close to my chest. But when it comes to the people I care about and the people I love, I would absolutely, put myself in harm's way if it meant that they would be safe. If that was the outcome, like if they were okay, I'm fine with that. Like I'll get your room ready up in heaven or wherever I go. Like I'm cool with that. So.
Wow. I am just in awe of all of you. You have done such amazing work. And on behalf of the entire fandom, thank you all for everything that you've done. You have done such incredible work. The organization is out of this world. The continued support and encouragement that you guys give daily is just really incredible. And thank you so much for taking the time to come together so we could thank you and also learn about you guys. You deserve so much credit and so much recognition for all this hard work, and I am truly appreciative. I hope everybody had a good time today. If anybody has any last words, please feel that you'd like to throw out there, please feel free to do so, because I think we've reached the end point here. And go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was just gonna thank you, James, for not only just the space, but everything you do. I think we talked about this when Ashley and I met with you, and just you were like, you mentioned being a cishet guy and not wanting to take away our voices or take away anything from us. And I think Ashley and I both were telling you you're amplifying our voices and how important that is to have someone supporting us and helping amplify that. And so I just wanted to thank you for all that you're doing, not only just the space, but in general for the fandom and supporting us. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Kate. I really appreciate that. I've been enjoying myself with all of this. This has been such a pleasant surprise for me to become a part of. It's I enjoy reading my timeline for the first time in a long time. So it makes me laugh. Don't always get the jokes. Sometimes I feel like that's probably a conversation I should stay out of. I feel like a dad that walked in on his daughter's conversation sometimes, and that's probably not good. So I try to avoid that. But you guys are so wonderful and such a wonderful fandom. And I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with and what plans you have. And I can't wait for season 3 to get going so that maybe some of us can all meet in Madrid or wherever it films, and then also maybe get together for a huge watch party somewhere when it premieres. So lots of big hopes out there, lots of big dreams, and I'm excited to see them fulfilled. So unless anybody has anything else that they want to talk about.
I do, actually. I do. Hold on. I wanted to say that we are going to make a post for the Rocky Mountain Cancer Center. So if anyone else wants to donate, because we basically just put this around a couple of our group chats, and like the order is like who donated to this so far. We didn't want you to know about it. So we are going to post that today as well. So if anyone else is interested in making a donation, please do so.
And I can't tell you how much that means to me, guys. You guys are getting me teary-eyed again. You're killing me here. Thank you so much. That means the world to me, and will help a lot of people who are struggling with neuroendocrine tumors, which is the kind of cancer that I have. So anyway, I don't know how to segue out of that. Thank you, guys. Does anybody else have anything left to say? If not, well, thank you guys so much. I will catch you. Don't forget about Kelsey's update later today, her space that she's got going. Make sure you attend, and they can update you on kind of what's going on with the order and making sure that everything is transparent. Thank you so much, everybody, and we will see you all soon. Take care.
It's Sarah's space. It's Sarah's space.
Sarah's space.
It's Sarah's.
It's good. Kelsey will be there, though. It's all good.
Okay, sorry, Sarah's space. Keep an eye out for the space from Sarah to update everybody on what's going on with the order. So thank you, everybody, and have a great day.
Take care.
Oh, and go Chiefs. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.